The film begins by showing a butterfly disturbing the sleep of a rich man's dog. The dog's name is Trable, who likes to talk and understand human language, but when he talks, humans only hear barking sounds. Before he meets his master as usual, he will be cleaned first, and it is done every morning by the maid before the Trable meets his master. And this is a Trouble employer named Mrs. Sarah, and Sarah already treats Trable like her own child. Take him on vacation, shopping, even care. Until one day when Trouble woke up, he jumped and no one else caught him as usual. Even all the maids there didn't care anymore. He wondered why Mrs. Sarah wasn't there. And he thought that Mrs. Sarah was going far without taking her. Even though without the knowledge of Trable, Mrs. Sarah has meningoi the world. Not long after, a husband and wife arrived who were Mrs. nephews. His names are Clary and Nober. They came pretending to cry in front of the maid, even though the purpose of his arrival was only to receive a letter of inheritance. There they also secretly sell valuables online and even sell photos of Mrs. Sarah. When they saw the Trable, they immediately threw him out of the house, while the less valuable items they put into the truck to be disposed of. And at that moment, Trable was accidentally locked in the truck because he saw his toy being thrown away. On the other hand, finally Clary and Nober meet God, make a lawyer's cupboard or read a letter of inheritance. He showed her the video of Mrs. Sarah before she died. Mrs. said she would bequeath her wealth to her nephew's clerk, but on condition that you have to take care of your favorite dog's Trouble. This made Clary refuse to take care of the dog, but Mr. McCubbin said they wouldn't hand over the will if they didn't care for the Trable. So suddenly Clary lied, saying that actually she really likes pet dogs. And it made McCubbin feel unsure and postponed the inheritance for a week, before they could properly care for the Trables. Inside the Trouble truck, he looked at her photo, Mrs. Sarah, and she always wondered where Mrs. Sarah had gone. Until one day, when the truck was rocking, Trouble was thrown out of the truck into the middle of the forest. On the other hand, Clary and Nober suddenly realize that Trable is not at home and it will be a threat to them, because they will not get a letter of inheritance. So they are planning to find someone to get the Trables back. In a forest of Trables stuck in trees, suddenly made a group of squirrels angry because the Trable was asleep in the hole in their door. The squirrel was even more angry when he saw that their food supplies were all thrown out. The squirrels then attacked Trouble and even took his possession necklace. Trable continued to walk until he came to a city and found food in a car which was already obtained by a stray dog named Luxie. They were suddenly almost caught by the owner of the car, who made them run all the way to a restaurant and even messed up. And then when they came out, suddenly the pizza delivery line suddenly stopped, which made the customer's pizza fall. Luxapun brought the pizza. It ran away and was followed by the Trable. Elsewhere, Clary and Nobert see an expert or veterinary specialist named Thurman. They are willing to pay a high price as long as Thurman manages to find Trable alive. Back to the Trable, there he met Luxie, who was eating pizza and didn't seem to like the Trable at all, following him. Soon the squirrels returned to attack the Trables and Luxie left him alone. On the other hand, the pizza delivery girl named Bella tries to explain to her boss that on the trip the pizza was taken by a stray dog. But it actually makes Bella's salary cut. And in fact, he almost lost his job. When he returned home, he contacted the singing competition committee if Bella wanted to register for a singing competition according to her talent. When night fell, Trable continued to look for Luxie, and he said that he was lost and wanted to go back to his big house. Then Lucky was forced to take the Trable to his place of residence, namely in a cave. And like it or not, Trable had to sleep there too. When the morning came, Trable and Luxie went back to looking for food like a stray dog and accidentally had trouble seeing a group of pet dogs in a park. He wished the dogs could take him home. Then when he got there, a group of pet dogs named Gang Gong suddenly followed the Trable where they usually would check out the new dog in the park. Trable also explains that he is also a pet dog in a palace. But he got lost in the forest, but they didn't believe him because the Trable didn't have a possession necklace. Then they ordered the Trable to walk down the highway in case someone would take care of him, or else he would be taken to a stray dog shelter. Fortunately, after a long time of trouble, Bella the pizza delivery guy was again met, and chose to take him home. Elsewhere, Tharman, the veterinary specialist, manages to sniff out Trable tracks even as far as a restaurant where Trables have been messed up. Returning to Bella, he quietly entered his house while carrying a Trable in a cardboard box. But instead, he was caught by the owner of the house and charged the rent that was long in arrears. When he got there, Trouble was surprised that all were in one room. For example, the kitchen and the sofas all merged into the narrow room. Then when Bella was about to feed him, turned out not to be what Trable wanted. Hope the food will be as good as he used to eat. Instead, he considers the food to be the food of the poor. And when Bella was practicing her treble, she started acting weird and slovenly, which made Bella throw her out behind the house. There he was again met with Luxie. And Luxie affects Trouble by saying that humans are all the same. He says also that humans will throw away their pets when they don't want them anymore. But Trable is sure that Bella is a good girl. Not long after, Bellapun opened the door for the Trable. And talking is like talking to a friend. He explained that the reason he moved out of the house was because his parents didn't approve of Bella becoming a singer, but that he should become a doctor. But Bella remains confident that she will become a successful singer. And after that they had fun joking and eating pizza. Regular defense get it for free from the workplace. And even Bella makes a possession necklace for the Trable. The next day Bella also took Trouble for a walk to the park. And Trable met again with the Gong Gang. They then continued to discuss about their distrust of Trouble if he used to live in the palace. And they left him alone. But that's when the squirrels hit the Trables again. Trable kept asking for the necklace to be returned. And after seeing that the Gong Gang then believed in Trable for his words that he previously had a rich man's employer. And they also helped attack the squirrels to get the Trable necklace back. And when they all gang, suddenly Tarman came and took one of them which he thought was Trable. Turns out he took one of the toupees wearing a Trable necklace. But Tarman, who understands animal language, invites the squirrels to work together to catch the Travels alive in exchange for lots of squirrel food. Once upon a time Bella left Trable alone to work. The squirrels entered Bella's house on Tharman's orders. And immediately attacked the Trable. And as a result, all of Bella's belongings were damaged, including her favorite guitar. A moment later Bella finally arrived home and saw all the mess. Plus he cried even more when he saw his guitar was destroyed. Then when Bella was very angry at the trouble, suddenly the rented owner came and saw Bella keeping the dog and all the mess, so Bella was kicked out of the house. And at that very moment the rental owner took the Trable to a stray dog shelter. And it turns out that Luxie was also there and was caught by the officers. Then Luxie also confirmed his words. If true, humans will throw their dogs away when they don't need them anymore. Then Luxie also told the beginning where the owner threw it away. At that time, when he wanted to save the master's child from an accident, the employer misunderstood thinking that Luxie bit him. There were also some stray dogs who shared their past with their masters. Not long after, Tharman finally found the Trable locked up and he immediately caught it and brought it home. On the other hand, Bella gave up her intention to audition and was reminded of the Trable again. Bellapun went to the shelter and looked for trouble. But it turned out to be too late and regretted it. Luxie, who saw Bella sad, finally realized that Trable's words were true if not all humans were the same. Then he also invites other dogs to work together to be free from confinement and help find trouble. On the other hand, when Tharman finished completing his clerical duties, Nobert even refused to reward Tharman, thus making Tharman very angry. Back at the shelter, a customer came to buy a dog to pet. But at that moment all the dogs cooperated, barking at the customer. As a result, the customer accidentally nudged the lock button and managed to get all the dogs loose. Elsewhere, Bella tries to find Trable, and on the other hand, Trable really misses Bella. On the other hand, Luxie asked the Gong Gang for help and tell all about the loss of Trouble. Then one of them, the dog with unusual hearing, managed to find the location of the Trable's whereabouts, and then Luxie seemed to be asking Bella to find Trouble, which Bella could also understand. And the dogs led Bella to the palace. At the palace, the inheritance ceremony was about to begin. And Clary lied, saying that she always carried a Trable with her for walks. And even shopping together. At that time it was Tharman who wanted revenge. Invite the squirrels to catch trouble so they can threaten Clary so that his salary is immediately paid. And the conversation was also heard by other stray dogs who also escaped from the shelter earlier. Finally, the signing of the legacy will begin. But suddenly Bella reached the palace and was allowed in by the maids. Bella tells that the dog is not actually hers. But all this time he took care of her. Just then Tharman came and asked for his salary from Clary, and told him that he was assigned to look for the Trable. But unfortunately he was not paid for his efforts. Lord MacCuban refuses to give up the inheritance. But Clary and Tarman scramble to sign it. Then Tharman ordered his squirrel troop to catch the Trable again. But suddenly the stray dogs and Luxie and the Gong Gang came to save the Trable from the place. And in the end the squirrels ran away. Here, Luxie tells if the Trable is true. Not all humans are the same, seeing from Bella's struggle to find a Trable. Luxie wished he could also get love from humans again. Not long after that Mr. MacCuban handed everything over to Trable. If who chooses will get all the inheritance. And of course the trouble of choosing Bella as his employer. And in the end, Mr. MacCuban handed over all of Misajara's inheritance to Bella. And it turns out that at that time Luxie's dream was achieved, namely to get a new master, a palace maid. And a few days later Bella celebrated the inauguration of a new park for all dogs. And he sang in front of many people. It also happened that a producer heard Bella's voice and contacted her boss to recruit Bella as a new idol. And the movie ended. I'm sorry to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, friends.